Let's talk about man in the middle attack. So you can see this picture represents your network, and this private represents that is the within the some area or within some network. So the first gateway or the first subnet will be your default gateway, and this .20 and .21 are the clients that is connected to this network. So to send an IP packet to any network device, the sender needs to know the IP addresses of the destination device. The addresses will be assigned to get the data packet to the final network segment. So in order to deliver the packet to the final destination, the MAC addresses of that destination computer must be known. And there is a protocol known as ARP protocol, which stands for Address Resolution Protocol, which uses an Ethernet broadcast to query the nodes on the network. So basically it will ask something like which node or which computer has the IP addresses, and that will just say send me your IP addresses or send me your MAC addresses if anyone has these IP addresses. And the node that has these certain IP addresses will just respond to that request, and other will simply ignore that. So the connection is between that network client and a server only by the ARP protocol, which is Address Resolution Protocol. So you can see how important it is, the MAC address, to determine the correctness of your information. So basically the information will be delivered back to that client on the base of that MAC addresses. So the final data frame will look like something this. It will just contain the header and the data. So data is your portion of a data, and there is a header which contains your destination MAC addresses, so as to confirm that this data frame is delivered to that particular computer or to particular node that is connected to network. So let's now see the man in the middle. So we just get the basics about the ARP protocol. Now let's see this man in the middle flow. So this is the normal flow. So client will just request some page and server will just render that. So this is your normal flow, and there is a man in the middle, and this man in the middle is basically a hacker. And basically what happens is, instead of just sending data or sending requests to directly to the server, it will be sent from this hacker machine. So we have already told, in order to send the correct information to the client, or in order to send correct request to the server, it will just see the MAC addresses. So what we'll do is, we'll just change this client MAC addresses to the MAC addresses of this machine. So our machine will be Kali Linux, and we'll just change the Kali Linux MAC addresses to be the client MAC addresses. And so what happens is, now the server will not send directly to client, instead it will send to this. The packet will be sent based on that MAC addresses, so that we have changed the MAC addresses now to of this client to be the MAC addresses of this person. So instead of sending the responses directly to the client, it will send from here, and will also connect now to this client from here. That means the request and responses are from this man in the middle. That means we are now hacker will just trace every packet that is sent and received from the server to the client, and will analyze that using the Wireshark. Will do so much of stuff like using the screenshot or using to inject the keylogger. So that will be done in the upcoming lecture. We'll see all the framework, all the argument that is given with this man in the middle framework. So you can see the clear example of this man in the middle with this picture. So the hacker in here is impersonating both sides of the conversation to gain the access to the funds. So this example holds true for a conversation with the client and a server, as well as person-to-person conversation. In this example, we saw that the attacker intercepts a public key, and with that public key, that can transpose his own credentials to trick the people on either into believing that they are talking to the another securely. So you can clearly see it has sent over your key. That means the man in the middle will send its key, and they will assume that this victim will assume that they are just communicating with each other, but instead they are just going through this man. So at last it will just crack every information of this victim, so that the fund will be into his account and not into his, or basically not into either of these account. It will be only on this man in the middle. So basically it is the interceptor. It will get every information through it. That means it will just get every access to the information that is sent over the network. So this is the man in the middle. We'll see now that how this man in the middle framework works in live action. So that will be covered in the next lecture, and that will be done with the help of Kali Linux. So see you in the next one.